Yo, and we're back again for more Sentai wrap up. So, yeah,
Oh,
how we all doing? It's Henshin here once again, bringing that Sentai
no.
hype. Um, as with me always, would you like to introduce yourself, good sir?
My name is Kaito, and I'm a Zenkaiger. Oh god, everything's falling off when I move. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sentai Roundup. I am Mark, your friend, your ally in Zenkaigerness. I don't know what I'm saying. I
It all
just see myself
works.
on the other screen now with like my eye going like that.
Seems legit.
Caught, caught me in a mid scratch.
Yes, yes, yes. Having a bit of problem with He-Man, heated He-Man discussion, aren't we, Mark?
Yeah. Well, not heated. It's well, with my friend, it's not. We're discussing it, which is good. But there is a lot of He-Man stuff.
I get you, I
Fucking
get you.
He-Man.
So, today is obviously a little bit different than usual because we haven't actually got an episode to review. Why is
No.
that? You've probably seen online, a lot of people have posted about it, that because of the Olympics, we no longer have an episode until, I believe, it is the first, yeah,
August.
or seventh, I think it was, or is it? No, it might be the first or it might be the eighth. I'm pretty sure it was the eighth. So, yeah,
Let me
we're
have a
gonna
look.
delay. We're gonna delay. As of course, it's probably a good time to do it because obviously we're 20 episodes in. At least we know what's coming next. Like it's no surprise. We've obviously got the Super Kaiser and Super Zenkaiser forming something awesome. If you don't know what
Yeah.
that is, I'll be surprised.
It's back this Sunday.
Oh, this Sunday, perfect. So
This Sunday.
yeah, so obviously we missed out last Sunday because of the Olympics. This Sunday we're all good to go. So now what did you think of this hiatus when you found out about it, Mark?
It's I'm used to hiatuses quite a lot, so I was just like, okay. But then I didn't realize it was the Olympics going on, so it makes perfect sense. Like you can't be angry at it
No.
because it's just the Olympics. I generally think though, like I thought they'd have him in there somewhere, like I don't know, in the back, just going like yeah type thing, cheering people on. Um, but someone said on Twitter, I think, or this was like from ages ago, like someone said, like, why didn't they make this year's Super Sentai like sports themed because of the Olympics?
Yeah, it's a good
And I was like,
question. Yeah, I suppose that kind of already exists with the school theme of, is it Five Man?
hmm,
So, yeah, maybe that's possibly the reason why. However, I cannot say. I suppose sports is quite a very narrow thing to use. I think it's always used as a subcategory rather than a main attraction. But
hmm,
then again, they did train, so who am I to talk?
yeah,
But yeah, now, obviously because of the hiatus and whatnot, we've kind of used to them because of Power Rangers as well. Difference is we have to only worry about say a week or so. They usually
hmm.
have to wait for a whole summer break, which really, really sucks. Really sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad it's going to Netflix. However, do you think Japan is having the same sort of suffering as we are, waiting for the next episode?
No,
No.
like literally, it's ready to go.
Mm,
It's the occasional one time in what I think it's 8 years.
mm.
Like you've got the Olympics, so I have no problem. I think they're just going to go, well, it's a break because they've got the episode ready to go.
Yeah,
That's the main
yeah,
thing.
it's true. That's true.
So they can easily do it.
Mm. One question I have though is because obviously Kamen Rider is affected by this a lot more than Super Sentai.
Mm,
From what I've read, because of the original assumptions of the Kamen Rider Saber having 50 episodes, the result of obviously now we know that Kamen Rider Revice is coming, which is going to be awesome in my personal opinion. But obviously, yeah, because of these Olympic Games, obviously that deducts the amount of episodes it's totally going to have now. So from what I've read, it might actually have two less episodes than what was originally guessed. So would you say that Super Sentai has that sort of suffering at all?
Not really, because you're still halfway through. Like you're coming up to the halfway point,
Mm,
or you've passed the halfway point already.
mm,
Like they could do 45 episodes, which would make perfect sense. But so let's say you're at the halfway point. I think that it just extends it a little
yeah.
bit, or they could do the thing of like, oh, we're going to do an hour long, like do it something like that. Like I'm just having a look now at Saber. So it's back on the 1st of August. So the last episode was on July
Hmm.
18th, and then the next episode, which is 44, which was is in the 1st of August. So it's the same sort of time. But then you kind of think like if that was the case, you would have taken out the World of the Pirates, which was the crossover with
Yeah.
Zox, but you would have taken that out. So you've given that a week, or you could play it. But then again, it doesn't matter because it's not like the editing or filming. It's because of the Olympics, and that's more important right
That
now.
is true. That is true. I suppose it kind of is one of those things that socially brings everyone together anyway, so it's bigger deal than Kamen Rider and Super Sentai. Um,
Yeah.
I noticed in the previous episode though there was a holiday in it. I don't know if you remember it. I cannot remember the name. I really should take notes. But
Oh, I know what holiday
yeah,
is. It begins with a T. It's like the Tabanka or
yeah,
something like that.
I believe that's the one. So obviously that was supposed to be. I think that's supposed to be celebrated. I don't know if it's this week or days already passed, but yeah, I think they tried to fit that in the episode still, as if they knew that was going to
Mm,
happen, which is kind of cool planning. Unless they edited together at last minute, things like that happen. Get enough information, it comes back to you, and then you can add in new
mm.
scenes and whatnot if you need to. But yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting how they kind of adapted it a bit to make sure they've covered everything. Um, do you think that Christmas is definitely going to be a later episode, or do you think they're going to bring it a little bit forward?
I think it'll be roughly around about the same time, either a week before, or maybe a week
Hmm.
after. That's what I kind of think. But not roughly. They have it around the same time. So it could mean that one episode gets pushed back, one episode
Yeah.
gets left out. I don't know how they do it. 'Cause I've never like I don't think Gokaiger had a Christmas. Oh, they had a
Yeah, they had a
Christmas
They had a
episode.
go kart Christmas.
Yeah. But then like other ones that I've watched, like I've not really kind of paid attention when it comes to it. So yeah, I think Lupin probably had
Mm.
one. Either way, it'll probably come out exactly the same time, because I think that when you know that you've got the Olympics coming up in that way, because it's a big thing in Japan,
Yeah.
you'd be more like, boom, let's sort this around.
I. Right. The second thing is, I believe there is little things here and there where they actually have Olympic athletes and stuff like that appear in the Olympics. Did
Mm.
you ever catch any of those? I believe you said there. I think there's possibly one that's floating around online.
Yeah, just the way you said it, I was like, yes, yes, Bren, there is Olympics. There are athletes in the Olympics. Like that's our whole point of the Olympics. I
New
think it
people only.
was like I just yeah. It was just Zenkaiger running up to what I'm guessing was an athlete, because I didn't think it was someone from Saber.
Right, right.
Um, Let me have a look. But the thing is, like they did the like toys, like soft toy type things, and it was like I just saw Zox coming out of nowhere. Um, but again, it was just like the way that Twitter likes to do it is just like, oh hey, you see that thing? Now I'm going to shove it all the way down because 20,000 things are
Yeah.
happening.
Do you think in the opening or closing ceremony it'd be so awesome if they had a Kamen Rider or even Super Sentai appear? I feel like something I should have.
Do you know what? I would absolutely love it, because I was saying this to someone is like, so like everyone knows how crazy Japan is,
Yeah.
right? And you get to see it. So you've seen like Pikachu's and Eevees running, doing like warming up, keeping the people going. And you've got people at home in Britain going, what the hell's this? I don't know what this is. What's that funny animal? And I'm just like, only Japan. Like they had in one thing that I've seen, like they had a guy dressed as Jiraiya from Naruto while observing, and I was like, you'd never get that
No,
anywhere
no.
else.
I like
So
how when they announced that Japan was the next place to host the Olympic Games, at the ending of the last one, the president, I believe it was, decided to pop out as Mario from a tube.
yeah, like I generally thought, like again, that I think I saw something like that. But what I really, really, really wanted was like at the opening, it'd be like Goku and like, hey, it's me, Goku, and I'd be like, yes, please, or like even Super Sentai to some degree just pop up, and I'd be like, please make this happen,
Yeah. I feel
make it
like
happen.
yeah, I feel like superheroes have got like a significant place in Japanese culture. So I'm surprised it's not really in it. Obviously, like a lot of anime could be easily put in there. I mean, I'm sure they have some sort of featurettes in each shows that the most popular, um, featuring different things to do with the Olympics. But
Mm,
I suppose it's one of those things we have to wait and see.
yeah.
But yeah, I thought quite interesting turn of events that we have. The Olympics cause a hiatus, but it's one of those once in a blue moon things that generally never expect to happen. But yeah, it's definitely made a difference to programming, and hopefully this will be the only hiatus we have to worry about.
Isn't there one more? There's like I remember that they take a break, but I think that's around March time. It's
Yeah,
like you get a
they
one-off.
do have a one-off break. That's that bridge between current season to new season. Um, I think it's previously been 2 week gap or something like that before.
Mm,
Which makes sense. You need a little bit of time to get things ready. Um, I can't actually wait to find out what the next Super Sentai is because it's always that next level up. I feel like
mm,
it's like they've done this anniversary season, which is really awesome and really enjoyable. But as always, after you go from something with great height, like no one expected Go Busters after Go-Kaiger. So I'm
yeah.
waiting to see what this new next level sort of show will be. I mean, Zhuoja was followed with Q-Ranger that had 9 Rangers in it. That was a space theme. It was
Mm.
it was the one time they incorporated American designs with the Japanese concepts. So yeah, I thought that was like, next level, next level, next level. So I'm looking forward to see what comes up next. I mean, even if you go back further than that, you've got um, Wild Force was obviously Gal Ranger's anniversary, and Gal Ranger had Hurricaneja follow that. Bokenja was a anniversary series, and that followed on with Geki Ranger. Like, there's so many different possibilities. There's such enriched seasons that follow onwards. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this next one would be. However, we don't have to worry
Mm.
about that just yet, because obviously we've got to do loads of Super Sentai stuff coming through Zenkaiger. So, you know.
Yeah. See, I always like the mini films they do.
Oh yeah.
I think so far it's like with the because obviously it's how to get it pumped. Like I don't know. I don't think I ever saw one with Zenkaiger. Like normally you see it when like or maybe it's because you had the 3 films for Kirimija, Ria Soldier, and then stuff. So you never got to see like that thing. So it was that kind of interpretation. But I used to love the whole thing where in the film it'd be like, oh my god, we're getting beaten by the bad guy. Hey guys, I'm the new Super Sentai. Here's the stuff that I need to do. I think my favorite one is the Gokaiger
All
one,
right. Yeah.
where it's like it's the one where they show like, oh, look at what we're doing. This is we're turning into other rangers,
Mm.
and I was like, holy crap, that's amazing.
I like with that as
So I'm
little secret viewing of that. I believe
mm,
um they had from Samurai, they had the lantern, didn't they? And he just kept
yeah,
popping up every single time. It's like the lantern witnessed again.
yeah.
That was
But
my favorite
it was
part in
so
all of
cool.
that.
I think what was so cool is that when they did it in Gokaiger, they went and did that as well.
Mm,
So it's more like we have to do this. And I was like, do you know what? That's actually really smart
mm,
on the way that they did it because they obviously didn't know who the actors were and stuff. Like you only had the voices and stuff
yeah.
like that, so they didn't have to demorph. But I love the fact it's like, shh, don't tell the other Super Sentais about. And like, I would be all on that. Guys, there's a pirate, a goddamn pirate.
I must admit though, I feel like because of the pirate theme, Gokaiger got significantly much more hype in music. Like
Mm,
you think of the Gokaiger theme and you think, oh, beginning, that's it. You think of the Gokaiger music in that, and you just think, that tune that has it. Like you're like, oh,
mm,
here we go, here we go, here we go.
yeah.
But yeah, I
I
think
think it.
yeah, it's one of those one-off seasons where Gokaiger has just kind of set a level, and it's one of
Yeah.
those things where they've gone above and beyond with the concept, and now I think Gokaiger is close to that. Sorry, Zenkaiger is close to that. However, I don't think you could
Ooh.
really compete.
Oh.
It's because of the level of it. I like the designs. I feel like because of COVID, it was
Mm,
affected badly, and that's the same thing that I've been people saying about the end of Kira Major, because it could have been one of the best seasons for some people, but obviously that ending did stiff things up a little bit for them
Mm.
because of the
I
regulations.
think yeah, I reckon with Gokaiger is literally there is a bar so high that you can like, I don't think you can reach it
Yeah.
because it's done something so differently. But I also kind of think Zenkaiger, if it was due to COVID, I think that later on you could find out that maybe there could have been a spell to turn the Kikinoids into the human counterparts, and then obviously you then had um, that you had them transform into the Kikinoids, and then their Zords would literally be their morphed forms.
Mm.
Um, like that's how I kind of would have tried. I know obviously they can't push it aside because if they said like, oh, we'll try and wait until the COVID drops down, it was very very hard
Yeah.
because you then run into the point where you'd be running into next year's, and I don't think that would work. Or you'd get a Super Sentai series that was about what, let's say 25 episodes long or something like that, which would then affect it.
I think I kind
I'm
of
just hoping
yeah.
then,
Sorry, I think I would have loved though if they went from Kikinoids to humans, because but I suppose the problem is the voice actors are different from the actual actors they had in
yeah,
that. So unless they specifically hired people that could, be the switch out, like they actually were the actors, and then they're doing the voiceovers until COVID cleared, then they switched that. I
mm,
thought that would have been so awesome. Um, but yeah, as you said, like it's unlikely to happen. As cool as that would be.
mm,
But yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's such a shame
Mm.
because I would love to see the voice of the machine.
Yeah, I'm sure there was pictures of them somewhere, but I don't. I think it's they specifically hired voice actors rather than actors that would come into the show. But
Yeah, they didn't.
c- c-
Yeah, they've not. It's all over the internet.
but oh well. But yeah, it's all right. It's cool. It's cool. It's pretty awesome either way because it's something different, and sometimes different is good. Um, but
Mm,
yeah, I think we've got another thing going for us here right now because I went through all of the previous Sentai wrap-ups and I've basically highlighted all of the elements that we previously talked about before. So in basic sense, we're compiling it all into a massive list for us to view. So, first things first. This is our reviews so far of episodes 1 to 20 of Zenkaiger. Now, as you can see, these are rated fairly well. So, there's actually only one episode that goes below 3 gears, which is insane when you think about it, because there's always something a bit different. Um, oh, oh, there we go, the actor, yeah. Of course, you'd look into that straight away.
of course I would.
But yeah, now I see that actually we've got a consistence of having 4 star, but threes
Mm,
have popped up now and again. Now, looking back at some of these episodes, was there any ratings you would have changed in these at all, Mark?
no,
Nope. You're
no.
happy with all
I,
those?
every rating that I have given, I stand by it because I think there's so much that you could. I think Zenkaiji could be so much more. I really, really think it could be 10 times better.
Mm.
But I think it just lets it down. Like think of it like a peak. Like it starts off and it goes up, 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 and then drops down,
Hmm.
and then slowly kind of climbs. And it's most of the time of the episodes. And I think so far that's what I'm kind of like.
Yeah.
What about you? Would you change any of your element? Like, would you change any of it now?
Some of them like I think I probably would have changed the rating on episode 2 a bit. I feel like that could have been more of a
Mm,
3 star than a 4 star. But I think it's surprising when you look at this whole thing that we had episode 12 as a 2 star, because
mm,
if I remember correctly, there was actually a lot of debuts in that, and we thought that because it seemed so rushed, that was the only reason we lowered it so much, because they're trying to throw all this information at us, and although all of these debuts are cool, they didn't get their proper timing, and that's something that I feel like is a bit difficult to do when you're trying to do an anniversary series, and you want to have all of this momentum and stuff going on, but if you put too much momentum in the one spot, then it causes issues, and I don't think they did that
mm,
well. um but like, yeah, I think it's fascinating that in this season of Super Sentai, um obviously episode one was debuting like, well, sorry, episodes 1 to 4 was debuting each character as they went along, and you might find this funny actually. Number 3 is where we have actually Imagine appear, and that was the one that we didn't like the most out of those four.
I think it. Which one? Hang on, let me have a look. I looked at episode 2, and it was the Mushroom
Yeah.
World, and that's what
Well,
really annoyed
how
me.
about this then? I've got another selection for you. So these are all of the debuts that we had in Super Sentai, in this particular season, should I say? So if I just launch up a bit bigger, so obviously we had Kaito, and then Juran and Kaito's first morph. Then we have different gears used as well throughout these. So keep in mind though, guys, I'm not really showing off any of the character debuts per se. Only because obviously, at the very beginning you see Yak-chan, you see Sek-chan, and so on and so forth. Obviously, you see Flint and the brothers later on. I feel like if I put too much, it'd be too much imagery going on here. So I've
Mm.
just specifically cut it down to the specific elements that are featured for Zenkaiger itself, rather than all the characters and stuff involved. So all of the general gear. So episode 1, we obviously had the main things is Kaito and Juran becoming Rangers, and obviously seeing that Juran has a dinosaur form, which is cool. I like how you can also see each of the Ranger teams that we've had represented as well. So for first episode, we had Zhuoja and Ninja. Now, as we go further down, we got Gowon, Gowon's form. Hurricaneja comes up next. Number 3, we've
Mm.
got Imagine finally appear. That ice one was really, really fun in a way, but obviously, in the compared to the others, it weren't as grand. And we even had Tokuja in that one too, which is my favorite Sentai.
Mm.
Although I think pretty sure Shinkai just probably kept taking that down a notch now.
Oh, oh, oh,
But
oh.
yeah, and then number 4 we finally have them all together with Vroon joining the team, becoming a team member. We've had the whole team sort of do their sort of like pose, and then we have Goseiger, different Megazords forming. We've already seen Imagine Dragon, but now we've seen Vroon's vehicle form. And then episode 5, we just have only story elements involved, with
Mm.
one Ranger team being represented in this particular episode. Now, in this block, which one stood out the most, and which one didn't seem to gleam as much?
Huh. Ha ha ha. I'm gonna have to say probably. I'm guessing probably the first lot because it was the ones where you saw Zoroja, you saw Ninja, and you saw what their abilities were. Imagine, you saw Torcuja, which I feel like they could have done a lot more
Yeah, yeah.
than say normal stuff. That's how I would have seen it. The ones obviously that where you saw Die Ranger or which one I can't tell which one is from here. I felt like it was
I'll send you the
interesting
image
because
if
you
you need
saw some.
it.
Okay, should make it bigger, Brent. Bigger.
Well, I'm sure the guys can see it, hopefully big enough.
Um, okay, so let's have a look. Oh yeah, so it was Die Ranger. I don't know. I feel like with all the images and stuff like that, with all the powers, yeah, you're getting certain elements, but it's not the. I don't know. I don't think they're being utilized that well. I think that's the main problem. I think that if you're not going to utilize the powers, like older Sentais before Jew Ranger, I can understand, but it just feels a bit kind of off at the moment.
Yeah, it does seem a bit differing from what we'd hopefully see. Um,
Mm.
Obviously, it has good representation, but I just feel like I don't know. I think I know what they're kind of going for. I think when they're doing representation of different Ranger teams, they're talking about their mechanics, which fits well with the theme. So obviously,
Mm.
their different abilities are what makes them up, what gives them their strengths and abilities. Because it's all like mechanism based, like I'm able to fly and whatnot.
Mm.
However, this being a Megazord-esque theme, I was hoping would have more Megazord-esque abilities,
Yeah.
which would make more sense as we've discussed before. Um, what about episodes 6 to 10? So obviously, I liked the slow introduction of different characters in this point, because this is when we had Stacy first appear in episode 6, following obviously the Trash World and having Go Busters. Then
Yeah.
obviously we have 7, which is bring Stacy on forward. So uh, Dark Rangers like a Basco-esque sort of uh, use. Sorry, Kaku Ranger used, Gal Ranger used, even Go Ranger used. But then we also have Stay Caesar making his debut, seeing Megazord summoned, and we have a ginormous bazooka. I thought that was quite a lot in episode 7.
I feel like see it's so weird because Zenkaiger has had this amazing type. There have been some cracking episodes.
Mm,
You know, the thing where you've got the evil rangers coming, you've got the Megazord fights, and it felt like they were in trouble. But then
mm,
it kind of backtracks. You know, obviously they had to put a limiter on Stacy because literally, be like, you know, you've got 4 people versus a whole army of Megazords. It
mm.
just you would lose straight away.
Yeah.
Um, you know, but the fact is, then you saw Stacy kind of drop down from what it is. Um, you've not seen anything from that since. You know, you've seen the occasional, oh, I've called these Rangers, but they haven't done anything with his character. And I feel like
Mm.
for a character that you've made directly for the show, where is it? Why are you utilizing him? You know, you spent what
Mm.
four episodes building a robot, which was destroyed really quickly. I'm like, what are you even doing?
Yeah,
What are you doing?
it is weird. It is weird. I think that this in this particular section, this grouping of episodes, I think this is where it feels the most rush in Zenkaiger so far, because we've already had those main characters debut, and then we had one episode which was kind of like a spacer between the next lot of stuff, because that was kind of story orientated and not much, as you could see from previously before. Episode 6 to 10 seemed to have everything that a 10 episode lot would actually have. You've got Stay Caesar, you've got loads of extra things. Then you straight away in the middle of this block, you've got Two-Kaiser making his debut and all of the stuff associated with him. As you can see, we've also got Kira Major being represented, um, Denji Man, and then even the power-up modes for Two-Kaiser, which are based on O Ranger and Shinkenger. You know, you got some special attacks as well. Obviously, some special attacks that we saw early on were kind of like a mix of everything, so that's why I didn't point them out. Um, but yeah, it's interesting how number 10 always seems like the last one in each block seems to have the least amount of debuts in it. Um, do you think that's kind of been used as like a gap between each segment? Because it does seem like these are in blocks of 5.
I think it's mainly because you've brought your new character in, so you want to see what the powers are. So
Hmm.
rather than saying, like, you know, if it was, say, let's say, you know, episode 10, like Kaito got the ability for like turning into Super Zenkaiger,
Yeah.
you wouldn't see the other abilities of the others because it's all on focus on that toy, that particular sale. And you know, the fact is that you've got 3 episodes dedicated to Kaiser, the debut. Then you've got the Shinken mode, and then you've got O mode, and that's it. So
Yeah.
now it feels like you have to do, like, you have to kind of give it a bit of breather. And you know, if you use at least one Sentai gear per episode, then you've got enough one per. So the point where you go like, oh, in this one we've used 2 powers. This time we're using none. So yeah, we can later on use it something different along the line.
Yeah. I do think as they go further in with all the debuts, once they've fleshed them out enough, they seem to go straight on to sort of like story elements. Because obviously
Mm.
each of the worlds that are debuted in each of these episodes become complex the less um, debuts are in an episode. So I think 8 and 10 do have more of the sort of like threat and trying to figure it out sort of elements to it. Because
Mm.
I mean, especially with number 8, because that was going through different doorways, wasn't it? And they were trying to reunite. I thought that was a really, really good, fun episode to have, and it was extra special because obviously it had that fight between um, Stay Caesar, just determined to now beat Kaito, whereas before he wasn't really trying,
Mm.
and then obviously um, Zenkaiser deciding that he's going to fight Stay Caesar because he's got no choice in this matter, so he's just going to have to
Yeah.
go full pelt. I love the Kira Major use in this as well, in that episode. But so yeah, once again, which one stands out most and which one doesn't to you?
To be fair, you've got 7 and 8 or you've got 7, 8, and 9 are the ones that stand out the most
Mm.
because they're the ones that have all the ranges, the beating. You have the introduction of
Mm.
two Kaiser, and then you see what two Kaiser can do. So you can, maybe actually 7, 8, 9, and 10
Yeah.
because they're more. They've moved forward, showing you, hey, this is a new Ranger. This is what we've got going on. But in theory, like if you took two Kaiser out there, they probably would not be very interesting episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree
Yeah.
with that. I do think that this one is kind of like a bombardment. It's like boom, 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 and
Mm,
I think that's quite cool for just like the next 5 episodes. Because obviously, um, you know, usually in Super Sentai, I feel like we get a lot more of a load a lot, and then we get some space, some time to calm down and enjoy what we've got, and then there's more put in, and then we've got some more time. I think that's why I was thinking that we would have the Sixth Ranger during episode 15 onwards, because it seems like
mm.
that's the sort of flow they were going for. But maybe now, because of Zenkaiger and being a 45th anniversary, they're trying to speed things up a bit, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Now, next one is the block 11, 12, 13, and 14, and 15. So,
Send me the pic so I can see.
yeah, we'll do, we'll do, we'll do. So, obviously, with this particular section of, um, episodes, it seems like we're getting a lot more of the gears used. There's a lot more Rangers being shown in this particular segment. Now, is there any particular episode so far that you actually think, "Whoa, I could have had this team represented in this by having this power"?
I really don't know, to be fair. I think basically the episodes they've all turned around and they've all focused on two Kaiser. So it's literally been all two Kaiser based episodes. Two Kaiser gets the six gear
Mm.
powers. He's the main focus against going against Stacy. He's the main focus again, where you're fighting the other monsters and it's his Zord. And again, you've got more of a focus of episode 14, where it's all about about um, them fighting and stuff like that to kind of trick Stacy.
Mm.
You can tell that it goes until episode 15. It's very two Kaizen, and I mean that's the way that they want to show. How do you say, like, their sort of sales? Like, hey, you need to buy the Zords that are coming out.
Mm.
You need to buy his Morpher. You need to buy gears. I think that's it. Where episode 15 is more, here is Kaito. He's kind of stuck back, so it's all about the Kikonoids.
Mm.
Because otherwise, if it was all focused on two Kaiser, then that's it. Like, it just becomes two Kaiser and the 45th anniversary of Super Sentai.
Aye, aye. I think my favorite in this particular block is actually episode 15, because then we got more retro stuff going on. You got a really good story. You've got Yak-chan actually used fundamentally in this particular episode.
Mm,
But as you can see, there's like a lot of representation. We've got Go Sager, Geki Ranger, Hurricaneger appears again, Turbo Ranger, obviously Shinkenger with the Megazord form, Deca Ranger, uh, Goonja, then O Ranger, Live Man, Q Ranger, Battle Fever. Like, there's so much going on. Even Mask
yeah,
Man, I wasn't expecting that one. And I think probably my favourite gear out of all of these, though, has got to be the one that we had for representation of Jakku. Is that yeah, the one that's based on cards? Because obviously, Big One
yeah,
takes control of the evil versions that Stacy's summons, and I thought that was the most insanely awesome concept they could have ever used out of all of these teams. Do you have a
yeah.
favorite so far at all?
Um, I've not really found a gear that I really like. That I would be like, oh my god, that's really cool. Like, I was surprised where it's like Big One takes over and he can control the others. I will give that one, like, that one did kind of surprise me a
Mm.
bit. So I kind of like it, but I think the ones that I'm looking forward to is mainly, like, say, Gokaiger or Ranger, or we've seen Lupin versus Pata Ranger,
Mm.
which is fine, but I kind of wanted more rather than, oh, here's, like, in a special. So I'm hoping we see them again. So I'm kind of looking forward to those.
Yeah.
But again, so far, I mean, if you want to talk about gear standing out, again, probably big one's the biggest one. No, I know which one stood out the most, and that's coming up soon. But out of these, like from 11 to 15, I probably would say big one is the Jacko is the best one so
Yeah,
far.
yeah, yeah. I certainly full-heartedly agree with that. Now I think that in the sort of like next block of episodes we do have a slowdown. But before we get onto that, I just want to say one more thing, which is that Time Ranger having that time strike. That was one of the best
Mm.
visuals out of them all, I think. I loved that. I loved the whole. Like, there's many things they could have done, but obviously it looks like they put a little bit extra more with Time Ranger having something as significant as a special attack being shown. Because it's more impressive when you have visuals that do that rather than just a logo and a pose. So having a little bit of something that differs from that is quite cool to
Yeah,
see. Um, but yeah, next block. So it feels like it slows down a bit to lead up to the super modes. Um, Now, would you say that they've done well in this particular block as well?
let's have a look.
Because I feel like although there's ranger representation again and the story elements and they have the whole worlds to face and whatnot, I just feel like Zox suffered in episode 20 because of the crossover. I feel like Super 2 Kaiser was kind of misused in this concept. I don't know if it's because
Mm,
it's they're planning to something bigger in the next episode because of how he's going to be used then. But yeah, I just feel like Super 2 Kaiser could have shined way brighter if he wasn't mixed in with Kamen Rider a bit.
yeah, I think when you look at all these episodes, especially if you've seen the Kamen Rider Saber special, you can see you may, and this is one thing I've seen, and it's very different where Kamen Rider is treated so strictly and so kind of it's its own thing where it's serious, where it gets down to business. Where as soon as it switches over um, to Zenkaiger, it's completely different.
Yeah,
It's to the point where I hated it. I generally looked at the writing, the way that it was, and I generally kind of thought, you know what, this is, Kamen Rider was wasted on this one.
yeah,
Um, I feel like what you could have done is not have Zox take the book and then literally have a bad guy from Kamen Rider come across into the Zenkaiger world. That's where you still get the power up. That's where you get Super 2 Kaiser going against this bad guy,
mm,
where they effectively just reuse the same bad guy and just put lips on the one in Zenkaiger like they do with the next episode. And it could have been that, and you could still have used the Kamen Rider gears. I just don't know the whole thing. If you're talking about best representation, Jetman has been the best so far.
yes, that has been the best one. Mind you, I think there actually was a Mega Ranger one where Kaito was riding on the shield. I don't think I actually include that one. I just remembered that one. Makes me worry I've forgotten a couple of the Sentais that have been represented by gears. But yeah, you're right. You know what? You're right. That is probably one of the most boldest concepts they've done out of all of them. Just because it's
Mm.
reusing a scene that actually happened in a previous Sentai, and I think Jetman's one of those ones that I don't know if you guys have seen Retro Sentai wrap up and they're as they go through it all, but obviously a character significant to that show dies, and that scene is being replayed for this particular
Mm.
representation, and I think that's beyond what anyone probably could have imagined for being used in Jetman. I mean, you've seen that Zyuohger uses animal powers, and because of Kaito flying, I thought, oh, maybe that's going to be the same thing for Jetman. But no, that was way off course from what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, do you think that if we had the Megazords and stuff, we would actually miss out on powers like that?
I don't know. I think it's very hard when you're using Megazord powers because what is like the basic forms of Megazord is they come together, they form a giant robot, and then they use their sword to attack or gun or something. So I feel like rather than saying this is dedicated to the mecha of Sentai, I would just say this is more dedicated to the power of Super Sentai.
Mm,
It's that's how I've done it. It's not like like Gokaiger, where you turn into the Rangers by using a gear. I think that if they went down that road, it would just be this is Gokaiger 2.0,
Yeah.
and I feel like you with the comedy, could you imagine like later on where two Kaisers are going, I've done it, and then you've got Kaito who's turned into Gokai Red going, yeah, it would take it away so much.
Mm.
So when I see stuff like this, I feel like this is just the spirit of Super Sentai compared to most.
Mm.
I mean, it's good. It does have its good points, but it does have a lot of bad points at the same time.
Mm.
But I feel like this is Toyo's way of saying we're not letting you adapt this or anything else later on. So it will be interesting to see what the next Sentai is.
Mm.
But I feel like this is Toyo's way of going like, no, no, that's it.
Yeah. I think probably my favorite out of all of these episodes though has got to be 19 because of how it matters so much in the story. As Stacy's finding out about his parents and activating Sekchan to create the next level of power for them, and then obviously using Flint. Everything is combined together, and you've now got a super mode for Super Zenkaiser and Super Two-Kaiser. I feel like that was
Mm,
one of the killer episodes. Like, in terms of having a super added to a show, that was seamless. That was perfect. That was like
mm.
you couldn't go beyond that. Um, I feel like obviously um, the next lot of episodes will be interesting because Super 2 Kaiser feels like the level up you would expect halfway through. By which I mean like closer to episode 30 because of the fact that super modes are generally sort of like here's the next level, we're close to the finale. You're going to be seeing this a lot of the time. So it makes me because of the early use of both two Kaiser and then super super modes. It just makes me wonder if there's something that closely matches, say, an ultra mode or even
Mm.
another ranger to come after. Because I don't know, it's like they've crammed a lot for 20 episodes, haven't they, compared to most Super Sentais?
They have, but the main thing is that they're introducing something new, which is a different Megazord,
Mm,
which I think is Duran and uh, two Kaiser. I just literally looked up now. It says we're so close to getting Super Zenkaiger and Super Twokai-Oh in full.
mm.
I'll send you the image. I think it's going to be one of the so you can see. I think it's going to be one of the newer things that they're doing
Ah,
because now is the time that they need either a new toy because it always goes in parts. So this could be coming near the end of the season, but it could be to the point where people go like, "Oh shit, we kind of need this. We kind of need this."
aye.
Um, but it'll probably be if I look, which I swear to God is going to come with a gear, and I'm going to be like, "I need this now. I need this now." Um, but yeah, like they need to do something kind of big for it. Otherwise, it's gonna. I think it's gonna fail.
Aye.
But yeah,
Yeah, let's just
completely
see if I
forgot
can
more.
quickly get those images up for you guys to see. So debuts, we want to switch that to this one again, and we want to then go properties, remove that one, add directory, because I feel like this is quite a significant thing we should probably show everyone too. Did I get it right? No. No worries, guys. We'll bring it in the next one so you can all see these latest additions that we're going to have. But yeah, I think something like that is pretty awesome to have because as we went through it, I showed everyone an image of the back of Super 2 Kaiser because it looked like he could have that attachment that was seen in the middle between all the different Zords that Juran, Gowon, and all that made because they just sort of formed together in that middle like clip-in part because obviously they had the
Yeah,
teeth and it was the teeth that you could see on the back of Super 2 Kaiser. But yeah, certainly looking forward to seeing that be used.
yeah. I think it's gonna be. I think obviously with
Oh,
the
there we
the
go.
next
I've got it. I've got it. I've got
episode,
it. I've got it. So
they've got it.
yeah, so we have Juran there, sure you can see the cannons on the back as well, which is pretty cool. Um, But yeah, it looks like, yeah, I was right. It is Super 2 Kaiser. You can see the back of his head still. Sorry, Super Zenkaiser. You can see the back of his head that's just folded back. Um, Obviously, that's probably where that banner comes in that we saw on the body, which further tells me that that front part, the reason why it was flat, which we both thought was a bit off, because obviously you want that 3D deco, because it is an important prop, but that must fold down in order to allow that combination. Um, but yeah, have you got the toy yet? Have you managed to get your hands on that? Is it not released?
Amazon in Japan are saying, "Oi, we're releasing it soon. Have it."
Oh man.
It. I know it's out. I know people have had it.
And there's Super
But
2
this will
Kaiser
be.
as well, guys. I don't know how that's gonna combine yet, but I think that's because of isn't the reason why he's like that is because of the SD form of Super 2 Kaiser.
I don't know. I think from when you look at the pictures, it should be apparently arriving on the 10th, the 12th of
Mm.
August. Release day is apparently the 7th of August. So I don't know how that's going to get to me in like a couple of days. But okay, well, these are from this. Obviously, you can see the faces, and this is definitely going to be uh, the combining mecha. So yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it'd be interesting to see how they do it.
Hmm. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. But yeah, we're both going to be looking out for that. We're both going to definitely enjoy these modes.
Mm,
Makes a lot of sense considering that Two Kaiser has that miniature mode like his brothers, so it makes perfect sense for it to be combined like his brothers. Um, Obviously we had the teeth and we've seen that, so we know exactly what Super Two Kaiser is going to do. Be interesting to see what other forms he has with the others. But I suppose we're
mm.
just going to have to wait and see. Okay, I think that pretty much covers everything today. So, hopefully we'll see you on the next episode and we'll go through the next epic addition to Zenkaiser then. In the meantime, where can we find you on social media, Mark?
You can find me all on Erlen Bar Twitter, which is at Mainstream Live. How about you, kind sir?
You can always find me at Henshin Asset on Twitter and both Instagram. Awesome.
Nice.
Okay, so it's going to be great to see if there's anything else released for Zenkaiger as we go further on. Obviously, we know there's a Canon Mecha coming, which is going to be the final installment. Hopefully, we see something else between this super mode and that Canon mecha, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. I'm really, really, really hoping for more representation of different teams, but who's to say what we're gonna get next? Okay, so until then,
Yeah.
my dudes, I will see you all next time. Bye.
Yeah. See you next time. Senkai, yeah.